You're welcome back. This is NewsFile. It's your most authoritative news analysis platform. And here on NewsFile, we put Ghana first. And this is our quarterly Joy Change Speakers series. 6 in 10, that is 61% of Ghanaians, will not report corruption for fear of some form of retaliation, according to the Afrobarometer 2019. What must be done to get everyone feeling protected and excited to report corruption? We set up the office of the special prosecutor, and he has been at work. Kissi Agyebeng was sworn into office as the second special prosecutor of Ghana on the 5th of August 2021. He was the founding managing partner of Cromwell Gray LLP, a law firm operating from Ghana, and he taught criminal law and international humanitarian law at the University of Ghana School of Law for more than 15 years. He served as the chairman of Ghana's Electronic Communications Tribunal, an ad hoc appellate tribunal of the National Communications Authority in respect of the regulation of electronic communications, broadcasting, and the use of electromagnetic spectrum. He also served as the vice chairman of the Appeals Committee of the Ghana Football Association. He's a notary public of Ghana and was called to the bar in 2003. At his vetting and at the announcement of his appointment, many felt he was too young to do that job. We believe he has proven them wrong so far. We gather his understanding of Ghana's corruption conundrum, his assessment of the fight against corruption, not just OSP, but all other institutions. And I present you the Special Prosecutor, Kissi Agyebeng. Please, let's hear you, sir.
Good morning, Samson. And I'm sure I'll be permitted to say Happy New Year, although we are a few hours before we cross it.
Thank you.
It's good to be here. I've not been here in a very long time.
That's right.
Something. I just want to ask a question as we enter a new year for all of us to reflect on. That is why I'm here today. Just to ask a question. For all of us collectively, Samson, are we ready for the fight against corruption? In putting Ghana first, are we ready for the fight against corruption? From where I sit, Samson, I don't think we are. We expect so much from the institutions fighting corruption. But collectively, are we ready? Let's all reflect on this question. And a good measure of the reason why I say, from where I sit, we are not ready yet. You pointed out yourself that more than 60% of persons fear a retaliation if they were to report corruption. And it is very dire. Even law enforcement, even the office of the special prosecutor itself, even the special prosecutor himself is not spared the specter of pushback and retaliation. And that is why I situated in that question that I ask all of us. Are we ready for the fight against corruption? Everyone should ask himself or herself. On the part of anti-corruption institutions, and by this, I'm referring mainly to the flagship anti-corruption agency, that's the Office of the Special Prosecutor. I'm referring to the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice. I'm referring to the TUYOKO and other anti-corruption agencies. Are we really doing what the Republic has tasked us to do? Or are we engaged in our own predilection? We have done much, these institutions, in the past 12 months, especially in collaboration, in working together, in forging ahead together, in fighting corruption. But is there more that we can? I believe we can do more. I believe we can collaborate more. I believe we can be more selfless. I believe we can win the fight against corruption. So I charge the anti-corruption. Let us do so. Let us not disappoint Ghana. On the part of the government ready for the fight against corruption. From where I sit, I have not seen much. I have not seen much commitment. I have heard lip service on too many occasions paid to the fight against corruption. The government ready to fight against corruption. Let us see in real fruit. Let us see that in real support for the anti-corruption. Once again, from where I sit, I do not see much. And to the oversight institutions, and by this I'm referring to Parliament, I'm referring to the courts. Are we ready for the fight against corruption? Once again, I do not see much. How many referrals Parliament made, for instance, to the anti-corruption agency when they discover corrupt activity and corruption-related activities around us? I have not seen much. And the courts and fellow lawyers who have been ascended onto the bench, are we ready for the fight against corruption? Are we helping the anti-corruption agency? Are we partnering the anti-corruption agency? Are we putting the cases right? Or are we engaged once again in our own predilection? Or is it our design to frustrate the work of the anti-corruption agency? Are we ready for the fight against corruption? To civil society, are we pushing enough? Are we? Are we calling out people who should be responsible in the fight against corruption well? Are we calling out the government effectively? Are we calling out the oversight institutions effectively? Are we, the civil society sphere, efficiently doing the work in respect of the fight against corruption? We ask ourselves. We should reflect on this. And the citizens, are we ready for the fight against corruption? I do not think so. But shouldn't we? The reason I say that is that it seems to us at the Office of the Special Prosecutor that we're only happy when the anti-corruption work is going on if it is against our political opponents, if it is against our perceived opponents and adversaries. But when it hits home, when it hits against our political favorites, when it hits again our friends, we entirely forget about the fight against corruption. And this is systemic. From all the analysis and examination we have done at the Office of Special Prosecutor, this generation is no different from the generations before us. And I ask again, collectively, are we ready for the fight against corruption? If we are not ready, we should just roll up our eyes and say it is a free-for-all society. But if we want to fight against corruption, shouldn't we all get involved? And the specter of pushback, we at the Office of the Special Prosecutor has encountered it on far too many occasions. But we recognize that it is an occupational hazard and it is part of the work that we're doing. And so we are unfazed. But for the citizenry, this is a real and present danger. The law that established the Office of the Special Prosecutor and its attendant legislative instrument that buttress the operations of the Office of the Special Prosecutor puts an onerous obligation on me as Special Prosecutor to protect witnesses, to do everything the law permits in my power, to protect confidential sources, to protect informers, to protect whistleblowers and their families and close associates. And on this charge, we pledge that we will do all that we can within the boundaries of the law to protect witnesses, to protect informers, to protect whistleblowers, to protect confidential sources and their families and close associates. This is the assurance we're giving Ghanaians. So come forward. Come forward. Help us. Bring the information. We will protect you. Even if we have to put you under witness protection program to protect you against the adverse effects of reporting corruption. As we cross over into the new year, let's reflect again. Are we ready for the fight against corruption? But I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that we can win this war. I keep saying that I'm not naive enough to assume that we can totally eradicate or weed out corruption from society. That's an impossibility. But we can drive it down. We can drive it way down by our action, by our commitment, and by putting our efforts where our mouths are. We can drive it down. And when it seems clear to everyone who is engaged in any action that sooner or later the long arms of the law will get to you. You will be arrested. Sooner or later, the corrupt activities will come to light. Sooner or later, you may be prosecuted. Sooner or later, you may end up in jail and disgrace and ignominy. Then the fight against corruption would have been won. Let us reflect again. Are we ready for the fight against corruption? Samson, my brother, this is my question.
You have asked the question, are we ready to fight corruption, umpteen times. I can't recollect how many times within the 11, 12 minutes that you have spoken. But I have one question for you.
Right.
Watch this first.
In the skies, at sea, and on land, we have eyes everywhere. We see it all. When you're involved in corruption and think you're hiding, we will get you.
It's assuring to hear you say that you are unfazed. But I, as a citizen, am not comfortable to learn that we, the citizens, are afraid to report corruption, and the special prosecutor itself also faces similar circumstances like we, the ordinary citizens. You were set up to help us avoid this normalization of corruption in this country. From your mantra, you have eyes all over the place. Do you, in fact, have eyes all over the place if the commitment from the government is not much, as you say? If the commitment of the people is not one that you can vouch for, and you are suffering so much pushback?
Samson, we indeed do have eyes all over the place. And we see a lot of things. And our resolve is to drive down the specter of corruption. But we cannot do it alone. And that is why I called out so many sectors of the general scheme of affairs, so many sectors of the various institutions and persons we need in fighting corruption. We investigate, we prosecute, we do asset recovery of money, and we prevent corruption. But we can never do it alone. We need all the institutions involved. We need all persons involved. It is a collective fight. So, if we are not getting the necessary support, if we are not getting the necessary uplift, we can do what we can do. But without the necessary resources and uplift and support and push up, that's as much as a human being can do or a human institution can do. And that is why I'm asking the question, are we ready for the fight against corruption? If we are ready, then we should push it up. We will do much better and will achieve better results than we currently are. But, as I said earlier, I am hopeful that we can win this fight. It requires just a little bit more commitment. We'll be there.
We hope that all of us as citizens and in our various fields of endeavor will also ensure that our government will do exactly what we want. Sovereignty resides in us, springs from us, the people. Our political leaders must not take us for granted. That's the message I take. Let us all do our part. Thank you very much, Kissi Agyebeng, the special prosecutor.